Hey everyone, we're going to be hooking up that big black tank there behind me to the house, to the garden, wherever we want it. So we'll have a little like an RV style 12-volt pump for now, providing the water pressure, and we're going to also be able to gravity feed it. And then back over there, there's the well. I want to be able to run straight from the well to the house or the garden or anywhere we want it to. So that well or the tank, I can be able to put that water to the house or to the main line that goes to the animal pens, to the hydrant out by the house, wherever, to the garden. So, and we can do gravity feed also. We don't get a lot of pressure gravity feeding because this tank's not up on a hill, but we do get a little bit. So we could, trickle some water into the garden or whatever, just let it dribble in there on a drip system or whatever. But yeah, we're going to be hooking this up. I'm going to show you a detail on what we're trying to accomplish and show you how I'm doing it. So here's some drawings I did so that I could tell how to run my water lines. And that's kind of a big view of the system right there. And then down here, I did this on a separate sheet. And it's just a sketch. That way I could count up all my little fittings and everything that I'm gonna need, and I could see it in my mind better. And I could pretend like I was closing off, let's see here, like I'm gonna close this valve and then open this valve, and then I could kind of picture how the water would flow and all. So here's the well right here, and the water flows straight to the house, and that's how we're going to have it normally with this valve closed. So that's normally closed, and this one will be normally closed. This valve here is only used to gravity feed from the tank up here. So that'll be closed, and that'll be closed normally. But if I want to run water out to the garden, I can open, like during the day when we have sunlight on our big panels that are going to control the well here, that are going to power the well. So we're going to have solar panels out here in this area, and it's going to power the well and everything during the day, when we have sunlight. Well, I could go over here and open this valve, and then the water will come straight from the well all the way around through like this into the garden. And that way I'm not going to drain my tank down, the big tank out here, that big 2,500 gallon tank. But if it's a cloudy day or it's about to get dark or whatever, I'll just pull it from that tank right there so I don't run my batteries down. Over here we're going to have the batteries and your what do you call it, inverter and all that. We're going to have a shed over here. We'll put all that in there. So that's pretty much how the system goes. Then down here this will go under the house, so it'll go to the faucets that go on the outside of the house. I've got a line running there, and then here's a hydrant, and then there's a hydrant over here where the animal pen is, and then the garden, that's the big one right there that we'll be using a lot. And we got this little transfer pump here. For now I'm using an RV style pump, 12-volt DC pump, and that'll, with this valve closed and that valve closed, this will put pressure to the house, or to the house or to the garden. Right now we're in an RV running off of that hydrant with our RVs right here, so we'll have pressure to all of our hydrants, and I can fill the RV up every day without starting up a generator for the well. So, and then I'll every I don't know, month or 2 weeks or whatever, depending on what we're using in the garden, I'll have to fill this big old 2,500 gallon tank up. And I'll use the generator to do that for now till we get our solar system all hooked up. And then to power the transfer pump, I'm going to have a little 12-volt battery back over here with a little controller on it and solar panel, that brings power. I've got, it's all set up to run wires over to this little pump right here. So I have a solar panel, a little controller, and a battery that'll run that transfer pump. So it should work out all right. I'm going to go out now and put the hose clamps that I just bought, because I didn't have enough yesterday. I'm going to put hose clamps on all those fittings and start backfilling it. This is what the tubing looks like I used right here. It's 1.25 inch poly tubing, and when you cut it with the hacksaw, or it's not a hacksaw, it's just kind of a rougher cut type of handsaw. I use it. It leaves that burr there. You just take your pocket knife and knock that off before you put your fittings on. And it comes in coils like that, and it'll have a bend to it when you cut pieces off. Like, see the big bend in that right there? And it causes problems, so you gotta heat it up with a torch and try to take some of that out. Now, you can add bend to it with the torch too. You can see how some of them I worked with the bend that was already in it on that one down there. And then let me get down here. This one right here already had that bend to it, so I kind of worked with it. And then that I had to add bend to it, and got a slight little kink thing there, but it's plenty big enough. That's 1.25 inch. That'll be big enough. And there, it came out real nice and smooth, the bend there. I did with the torch. You gotta be careful not to overheat it when you heat it. And then the one with the little bend, I just kind of worked with what was there, and then the other ones I straightened out with the torch. And then, as you can see, those only have one stainless steel hose clamp on it. I'm going to double it, put 2 clamps on everything, especially everything underground. And some of those don't even have clamps on it. So that's what I'm going to do now, is get clamps on all these so that I can start. Well, I've got it stabilized kind of with dirt. I'll stabilize it a little bit better, and then I'm going to fire up the well pump and get 50 pounds of pressure on it to make sure nothing's leaking down here, especially before I backfill it. Make sure none of these fittings are going to leak. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've been trying to work the leaks out of this thing for a while, man. I think there's like 4 different little tiny leaks, just little ones, but you can't have that. So I had to sit there and keep working with it until I finally got all the leaks. So now I'm pressured up, and I'll show you what we got going here. So I've got that set at 50 pounds, the controller. That's what I want to run the system at. And here's all the... So I had like a leak, I believe, here. And I had one like over here, had one here. And then right in here I was having a heck of a problem, but I got it all now. There's nothing. I don't see anything dripping. It was just a little drip. You had to sit here and watch it for a while before you'd even see it. But see, I got all my double hose clamps on everywhere. And this right here, if you're wondering what this white line is, this is where I'm going to be pulling wires to run this little pump right here. So I'm going to do all that tomorrow, but yeah, we don't have any leaks. We got pressure on this system and no leaks, so we're doing good. So tomorrow I'm going to start backfilling, and get all this portion of it completed and then go on to the next step. So I'm going to go back through here and get to just retorque every one of these and make sure they're real good and tight. All of these hoses I'm going to retorque before I start filling this back up with dirt. And then what I'm going to do is do it all with a good old shovel right there, and you know, make sure instead of doing it with the tractor with big bucketfuls and putting stresses on everything, I'm going to make sure there's no dirt land, you know, big clods landing on top of any of this, putting any kind of stress on it. I'll do it nice and neat till I get this buried, and I'll kind of tamp it down with my feet and make sure everything is real nice. And then I'm going to get the tractor and do the rest with my bucket. And I got to be really careful with that electrical conduit right there, because I got to run wires. I think I might run the wires through there before I fill this up all the way, but I'd like to get this stuff kind of buried just to get it real good and stabilized. And I'll just I'll lift this thing up a little bit, and then about where I want it, and then set that on top of the dirt before I backfill it completely. Well, I've got all the dirt shoveled in there now, so all the tubing is protected, filled in underneath it real good. So I can get my little tractor out here and take those piles of dirt right there and backfill this in the rest of the way. And got my electrical conduit right there with a pull string in it, ready to pull some wires through there for that little electric pump right there. And we're going to be ready to go. Well, I've got it backfilled, and next thing I'm going to do is build a little house around all that with these cinder blocks, and I'll have a top lid that with a hinge on it that I can open and close, so I can open and close them valves anytime I want without, you know, it being a big problem. And the tank itself will keep it warm in the winter time so the pipes doesn't freeze, and I'm going to have it all insulated real good, so you'll get good thermal mass coming off this big black poly tank with the sun beating on it and keeping the water in there at a warmer temperature than the outside temperature. So I think that's all I need to keep these pipes from freezing in the winter time. And I do plan on running some wires for heat tape also. If it does get down really cold, like down around 0 or something, I might need to turn the heat tape on for a night or two. That's it. That'll be my next project. So we'll see you on the next video. It'll either be for gardening or for building this thing. We'll talk to you next time.